What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another transfer update video. Today we'll be discussing the latest transfer news as Arsenal are heavily linked with a move for Raphinha from Leeds, as well as all the latest transfer goings on and off at the football club as we wait for the first marquee transfer of the summer to happen at Arsenal. Big up to everyone who tuned in yesterday for the stream with Kevin Campbell. Kevin, you're not easy, brethren. You're not easy. I can't lie, Kev. He was in full defence mode, as he is of Mikel Arteta. I tried to push him, but it was difficult. But nah, big up, Kev. I appreciate him coming on. And I always say to people, listen, you don't have to agree with everything he says, but be respectful of it, you know. So big up to Kev for coming on. We enjoyed the show. We had a good laugh afterwards as well. So big up to Kev. And big up to everyone who tuned in for that. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are getting close to that 50k. Don't forget as well, people, Premier League fixtures come out tomorrow at 9 o'clock. So we'll have a video out or we'll go live. It depends what's going on, but we'll definitely have some content out first thing in the morning tomorrow. So 9 a.m. UK time, all of the fixtures come out in the Premier League. So look out on the channel for that. I'll put out a reminder if I'm going to do a live stream. If not, we'll do a pre-recorded one. So look out for that. Right, let's get into it, people. First of all, congratulations to Joel Campbell. Remember him? Former Arsenal player. Scored the winning goal last night for Costa Rica as they qualified for the World Cup in Qatar. I actually always used to think Joel Campbell was a decent player towards the end of his time at Arsenal. It was quite unfortunate when we got rid of him. But yeah, Joel Campbell, congrats to him. Big up the Reggae boys as well, man. Picked up a decent 1-1 draw against Mexico last night. I stayed up late to watch that. Good result for them. Leon Bailey with the header. It's a shame they couldn't win the game. But a 1-1 draw, something positive for Paul Hall and the Reggae boys. But right, let's get into Arsenal, people. Let's get into the Gunners and the latest news surrounding Raphinha from Leeds United. We've spoken about him time and time again. But stories coming out of Brazil and the UK now saying that Raphinha is heavily in demand with a move to Arsenal. The fee will be well in excess of £50 million, including add-ons. Could make the deal as expensive as £60 million. And reports coming out of Brazil that Arsenal are pushing heavily to get this deal done now. Now, I like Raphinha. I would take him at Arsenal. I have to say that I don't see how you can fit him into the squad unless a winger leaves the football club. We'd all expect that to be Pepe, but at the moment we haven't heard a lot about Pepe in terms of him leaving. Could it be a case that you can't get Pepe out and you have to keep him for next season? Are Arsenal going to spend £60 million on a right winger? Saka's just got player of the season playing on the right. Do you then move Saka to the left? That then puts Martinelli on the bench. Listen, I believe top football clubs should have competition for places. I'm in favour of Arsenal buying somebody like Raphinha, like Gnabry, a winger that can score goals. And I think rather than Arsenal signing 2 strikers this summer, Arsenal's plan of action is probably to sign 1 striker and a winger that can score goals in a similar way to how Manchester City have done in recent years, where they haven't necessarily relied on the central striker, where it's a case of your right winger gets 10 to 15, your left winger, and your striker maybe gets 15, 16 goals as well. So Raphinha, I mean, it seemed as if he was on his way to Barcelona. Barcelona came out the other day. Apparently they're 400 million euros in debt and really struggling to bring players in, which is why, you know, we've seen the likes of De Jong being linked with moves, Depay. They're struggling to get a new deal tied up for Ousmane Dembele. So Raphinha, we could have a bit of a free hit at him, although Tottenham have been linked with him as well. Yesterday was not a good day in terms of Tottenham and the transfer window, as they announced they'd agreed a deal for Yves Bissouma, a player that, listen, for me, I know Arsenal want to sign a different kind of midfielder in Youri Tielemans, but for 25 million, even if Bissouma wasn't a top target, I would have signed him and Tielemans to go along with Partey as well. But listen, Arsenal, you know, we know they're not that kind of club. They don't push the boat out and show that kind of crazy ambition. It's probably one or the other. And I think Youri Tielemans is the one they're looking at. Raphinha, for me, listen, if Arsenal get him, I'll celebrate that. I think it's a good move. 60 million is a lot of money for a guy that hasn't really done much in Europe, has only just got into the Brazilian squad. But I think if Arsenal could get him, it would be a positive. He's had a couple of good years in the Prem, so we'll have to see what develops on that one. Let's talk Youri Tielemans. It looks as if, to me, from what I'm seeing, that this could be the first one who comes through the door. No disrespect to Marquinhos, of course, who we signed the other day. But in terms of major signings, somebody to go straight into the first team. Ben Jacobs was on the terrace with Terry. Big up to Terry for getting Ben Jacobs on. And he said Arsenal have not put down an official offer to Leicester yet. They are in negotiations. The price could be between 25 and 35 million. He says he doubts it will be any higher, and Arsenal feel they've always been the front runners in this, and it's believed this deal should be tied up before the end of the month. Now, there's a couple of weeks left in this month. I'm sure we'd like to see this deal tied up sooner. International duty finished last night. Tielemans set up the one goal as Belgium beat Poland 1-0, and Tielemans with a lovely cross, Batshuayi with the header, and they did say after the international duty that this deal would be easier to tie up. And, hopefully now these players will be going on holiday. They'll be having meetings with their agents. They'll be in discussions. Hopefully we see movement on this Youri Tielemans move. I think a lot of Arsenal fans were very disappointed yesterday that Basuma wasn't coming to Arsenal. And as I said, I think we should have signed Tielemans and Basuma. Give yourself great options. Rather than relying on the likes of El Neni and Xhaka. For me, I'd be moving Granit Xhaka on personally. But yeah, Tielemans is the player they're looking for. I think he's better than what we've got. I think in that role, he would be good for us. And I want to see Arsenal get this deal tied up. So let's hope sooner rather than later, this deal is tied up. A couple of stories surrounding players potentially leaving or maybe not leaving, depending on how you look at it. Bernd Leno's agent, Jonas Cortrigas. Apologies if I've butchered his name there. But he said, he made a statement in the Bild newspaper over there in Germany. And he said, for me personally, Bernd is also the clear number one at Arsenal, with all due respects to the competitors. I mean, Leno's agent coming out with haymakers, swinging, big right hand and the straight jab to Aaron Ramsdale. Now, anybody who watched the England game last night, I mean, wow, England lost 4-0 to Hungary. And the country went into meltdown. People want Southgate out, this, that, the other. Listen, I didn't get too caught up in it. I think these England players are exhausted. And I just think they want to go on holiday. But still, it was an embarrassing defeat against the team that they should be beating with the team that they had on the pitch. But Aaron Ramsdale, of course, conceding 4 goals. It's not a good look for him. A couple of them were very close to him. People were saying on social media he should have saved 1 or 2 of them. But I wanted to ask you people, Bernd Leno's saying that Leno is a better goalkeeper than Aaron Ramsdale. I had major doubts about Ramsdale when we signed him. He has had a very good season. I thought he wobbled slightly towards the end of the season. Was he believing his own hype too much? Who do you think is the better goalkeeper, Aaron Ramsdale or Bernd Leno? It seems as if Leno, a week ago, it looked as if he was going to Fulham. His agent's now saying, he may stay at Arsenal. He may try and fight for his place. And maybe he believes deep down he's a better goalkeeper than Ramsdale. I think Ramsdale definitely is better with the ball at his feet. But overall, who is the better goalkeeper? I've always thought Bernd Leno was a very, very good shot stopper. But definitely not as good as a ball player. And I think Ramsdale probably slightly edges it in terms of coming out and taking crosses as well. But who do you think's the better goalkeeper? With Matt Turner coming in, is Leno going to be sold? Personally, I'd love to see Leno kept at the club. I think it's always great having good competition. But it's a World Cup year. I'm sure he will want to move on. But let me know in the comments, people. One player that may not be moving on. The deal has collapsed for Lucas Torreira. Now, he went onto Instagram and wrote a very open letter to the Fiorentina fans. Now, what has happened here, people? Arsenal had an option to buy for Fiorentina to buy him for 15 million euros. So you're looking at around 12 to 12.5 million pounds for Torreira. Torreira had a fantastic season. I think he was player of the month 2 or 3 times for Fiorentina. He was desperate to sign. They offered us £7 million for him, which clubs will do because they've seen the way that Arsenal have done business, and we look like a soft touch. We look like you can easily negotiate a player out of the club. And Arsenal have just said, you know what? You're not having him if that's what you're going to offer. And Fiorentina have tried to call our bluff, and it's gone against them. And negotiations, according to Fabrizio Romano, completely finished, broken down. They will not speak again from what we're reading. Lucas Torreira has come out with this message statement to the Fiorentina fans. He said, "Dear Fiorentina fans, unfortunately, the time has come to say goodbye. It is with great sadness that my bond with Fiorentina is ended. A club that gave me so much love and support for all this time. I want you to know I did my very best to continue being part of this club, but unfortunately some, acting in my view in a negative fashion, managed to prevent that from happening. So this is why I must leave. Forza Viola." So Lucas Torreira, as of right now, is back at Arsenal for pre-season. Now, according to reports today, it's still believed that Torreira will get a move to a different Serie A club, with a few clubs looking at him. Year left on his contract. Some Arsenal fans have said, bring him back. You know, he's better than some of the midfielders that we've got in the squad. I just don't think he wants to play in England. I think he wants to play in Italy. And but Arsenal are going to be in a weak position with a year left. Clubs will offer us peanuts for him. So I'll be interested to see what happens there with Lucas Torreira. What would you do? Would you try and convince him to come back? Or do you take what you can for him and sell him with a year left on his deal? And it wouldn't be a transfer update without that man, Gabriel Jesus. The Daily Gabriel, when will he become an Arsenal player, people? Reports coming out of the Sun newspaper. Apologies for quoting the Sun, but according to the Sun newspaper, Gabriel Jesus is keen on reuniting with his former assistant manager, Mikel Arteta, and is desperate to be first-choice striker after years of playing second fiddle at Manchester City to the likes of Sergio Aguero. It is believed the deal will accelerate over the next week as Arsenal look to tie up their striker for the summer. So there you go, people. We've heard it time and time again. Until I see him holding up the shirt, it is what it is. We keep it moving. Thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Big up everyone who's been putting in the super thanks. Thank you to everyone who tuned in to the live stream yesterday. It was certainly entertaining with Kev. We certainly didn't agree on much, but listen, we've got the same passion. We want the best for Arsenal. Maybe we see it in slightly different ways. Don't forget, I will be on tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. We'll be discussing the fixtures as they come out in the Premier League. And let's see who Arsenal start their campaign off with. Enjoy the rest of your day, people. Take care, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bless.